Why do celebrities' tragedies become jokes? With the endless chaos on the internet, what responsibilities should social media and users bear? Today, let's take the Kobe Bryant as an example to analyze the impact of few jokes on social media to the public. Have you ever seen these terrier pictures? Ice-T Kobe, Shooting Kobe, 24 August 2024 Kobe, Helicopter Kobe. But it's not funny at all. On 26 January 2020, shocking news quickly spread across the globe. NBA legend Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna Bryant, and 7 others tragically lost their lives when the helicopter traveling in crashed due to the foggy conditions and low visibility near California. The tragedy had shocked the global sports community and fans, sparking widespread concern and mourning. As soon as the news of Kobe's death broke, all major media outlets were reporting the news. In addition, all walks of life also reacted immediately. For example, the NBA mourned Kobe's death on site. On Chinese social media, some influencers came up with a beauty video with a high resemblance to Kobe. And some artists took to the streets to express their sadness over the fall of the myth of a generation in the form of graffiti. When people lament the end of a legend, they don't know that it is the beginning of another story. A year later, the Kobe story went viral on the Chinese internet. The malicious fans were based on the term elbow strike. Kobe would sometimes use his elbow in basketball games for defensive or offensive purposes. Jail. These fans refer to Kobe as Lao Da, meaning he can be a boss even in jail, as a way of satirizing and belittling him. Some netizens combined Kobe with a helicopter character from a Chinese cartoon, not only recreating the crash scene, but also pushing the hell jokes about Kobe into the public perspective through the cartoon character. To add to the mockery, netizens combined the song "See You Again" with Kobe's retirement speech line, "Dude, what can I say? Mama out," to create a soundtrack for Kobe's Lao Da stunt. Due to its wide distribution and longevity, it has become one of the most iconic hell jokes in the history of the Chinese internet. So, what exactly is a hell joke? A hell joke is a satirical joke about someone's illness, suffering, or even death, involving religion, race, life, and natural disasters. These offensive jokes go against traditional Chinese values of respect for others, but have surprisingly taken root in China. Since they were admitted to China, they have become popular on platforms such as Baidu Post Bar and have spread rapidly with the rise of social media platforms such as Chinese TikTok and Bilibili. Hell jokes ostensibly mean that if you read the joke, you are going to hell. The concept was first popularized on the foreign internet, but of course, there is no research to indicate that you will go to hell if you laugh after you understand the hell jokes. So, why do people like to say these hell jokes? We interviewed one enthusiast. Here's what she said. I don't think these jokes will do anything to my life, but rather add to the fun in my life. And it can be identified that I am knowledgeable about it. It is clear from this that some of the people who use hell jokes are doing so to demonstrate their knowledge, and that most of the people who make hell jokes are not the victims themselves, but rather people who to let things drift if they do not affect one personally. Have you ever seen a Japanese see a joke about an atomic bomb, terrier picture, and not get anxious? Recently, there was a hell of a joke war between Japan and the US, Barbie and Oppenheimer, where American netizens combined the two, coined the word Barbiehammer, and created tons of internet pictures of them. Then, Japan strikes back and a new war has begun. However, American netizens were not furious about this retaliation, but instead thanked Japanese netizens for providing them with a large amount of material for their sacred pictures. What is the principle of this? We have learned that in the United States, hell jokes are given strong anti-political correctness to mock the American social reality of race, gender, and other politically correct issues. Deconstructed when political correctness invades every aspect of life, so that you have to go to the subjugation of it. The hell jokes are extreme resistance. However, in China, due to the different social environment, the politically correct issues are ineffective, and the original aggressiveness and political nature of hell jokes are weakened in the Chinese context, which precisely gives hell jokes the space to circulate in China. Without the participation of everyone, it is difficult for hell jokes to become popular in China. The cost of creating the content of hell jokes is too low. Often, a picture and a few sentences constitute the main content of hell jokes. From the analysis of individual behavior, Chinese netizens are still in the mindset of making memes, playing with whatever is popular. The cool picture was widely known after a lot of copying and spreading. They didn't care that the picture was damaging to others' interests. They just thought it was funny, and this kind of random forwarding leads to the proliferation of imitations and variants in a short period. Through massive copying and dissemination, they attempt to find identity in society. And under the long-term management of moral and legal norms, these making memes users find resonance with the counter-mainstream culture, and they use this extreme humor to provoke social norms and moral taboos, to determine their own identity and seek group identity. However, the use of hell jokes as a special bond in social situations is controversial. In 1959, Erving Goffman introduced the idea of geometrical analysis in his book, The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life. He mentioned that there are front-stage behaviors and backstage behaviors in social situations. Hell jokes are sometimes like the foregrounding of backstage behaviors in small groups, where group members reinforce their relatively private and unique social bonds by accepting jokes that push the boundaries of taboos. However, such bonds are unhealthy and contrary to mainstream values. In terms of collective behavior, the spiral of silence effect can easily occur with such large-scale dissemination. Elizabeth Snow Newman, a German political scientist, she formulated the theory Spiral of Silence in Germany in 1974. As per her analysis, Germany's stand in World War II inspired her to propose theory Spiral of Silence. Spiral of Silence theory is described the spiral with two ends. The top and up spiral is view of majority, where people are willing to speak out. The low end is made up of disparse. We do not express the opinions of the minority, and we even let them follow the mainstream opinions. When a minority dares not speak, they are afraid of being isolated, and individuals are afraid of being isolated by the group. This makes them afraid to speak their mind, and people are more willing to agree with their opinions than to speak their minds. In order to avoid being isolated, people constantly observe the surrounding environment closely and assess the atmosphere. Environmental observation allows people to find out that our opinions and behavior patterns are becoming popular, and then they express their behavior in public or even change themselves. According to this theory, at the height of the popularity of the Lao Da Code emotion, some individuals may have found such jokes inappropriate but were unable to express themselves out of fear of disapproval or isolation. Chose to remain silent out of fear of opposition or isolation, with the result that the voices of the few were drowned out in the flood of emojis. We need to realize that social media platforms are not just neutral technological tools. Their algorithmic mechanisms often prioritize content that drives engagement, including offensive jokes, which in turn shapes the user's behavior. In addition, the social media era confirms the concept of attention economy. To attract public attention, some communicators tend to hype the event to a sensational level in the emotional expression of public opinion. However, this kind of hype not only increases the negative impact of the event, but also intensifies people's attention to the event. It makes the seriousness of public events entertaining and reduces the seriousness of society towards major events. Big Sister Husband is the most typical representative of this case. In the released video, he often wears Cope's jersey, a dark face, and the background of the fire ad smoke, describing the fact that Cope's plane crashed. And after he became popular, he had been broadcasting live on the internet every day to gain attention and revenue, usually playing mahjong and singing songs, as well as thanking his viewers for their gifts. And in the end, everyone's attention has been drawn to an event that excessively blurs the boundaries between that and entertainment. In the aspect of culture, hill jokes are also a reflection of certain dark sides of society and culture and boundary testing. The existence of hill jokes is also a reflection of some of the repressed and unspoken elements of social culture and the psychology of people's testing of cultural boundaries. Stuart Hall, a cultural studies scholar, suggests that culture is a field of struggle and negotiation where people are constantly exploring and challenging themselves within and on the edge of established cultural norms. Hill jokes often touch the sensitive cultural issues such as race, gender, ethics, and use a twisted form of jokes to test those parts of established culture that are conventional and cannot be easily violated. For example, the racially charged hill jokes, which are wrong and should be criticized, reflect the attempts of some people with bad ideas to break through the constraints of society's anti-discrimination culture to express their darker thoughts. At this level, it highlights the need to strengthen positive guidance and consolidate the boundaries of correct values in the construction of society and culture. As Baudrillard reminds us to be vigilant against the dissemination of undesirable and negative symbols in culture in his discourse on cultural symbols, and hill jokes are one of the typical undesirable cultural symbols. So, there is no control over this kind of bad behavior, making a joke out of other people's grief? Of course. The Hangzhou Comic Show incident mentioned just now was criticized by Cope fans and netizens at home and abroad. The Cope fans spoke out for the idol, and the netizens, as moral people, spoke out for an ordinary person who died. In addition to this, the platform also assumed the responsibility of Regulation 2022. In February, the hill joke posting bar was officially banned, and the TikTok and Bilibili platforms also introduced measures to ban hill jokes that use the death of others as a laughingstock and even put hill jokes on the hot search as a negative example to educate the users of the whole station, which to a certain extent curbs. The spread of hill jokes has been curbed to a certain extent. Neil Postman writes in Amusing Ourselves to Death, "The pain of people is not that they replace thinking with laughter, but that they don't know why they laugh and why they stop thinking. We need to be entertained, but with a sense of boundaries. We must not use other people's grief as soil, we must not use other people's identity as a source of laughter, and we must not allow the production of outrageous fruit." In the final analysis, the curbing of hill jokes should also start from the source of dissemination. Excessive rivalry of ugly behaviors may be able to make people's moods briefly soothing, but it cannot let our hearts be truly liberated. Our goodness should not be eroded by the characteristics of this platform and concept of entertainment to death. If you found this video interesting, all I ask for is a subscribe. But for now though, I will see you at the next video. Let's talk about abstract culture in China.